This video is for the lesson 8.6 homework. We're doing quadratic regression today. So we did this when we did linear functions, straight lines. We can do it with quadratics too. So number one, what is the name of finding the best fit equation for a set of data shaped like a parabola? This is quadratic regression. And then what is the name of the values of x such that the y value of the relation equals 0? These are the zeros. So again, x-intercepts, zeros, solutions, roots. They're all talking about the same thing. All right, so quadratic regression. Always start fresh anytime you're doing any kind of regression. So we're going to go here. So it's the fourth box at the bottom, the green kind of table. That's list and spreadsheets. We're going to put an X next to the A and a Y next to the B. And then we put our X's underneath the X. And then we put the Y's. Remember, f of X is just a fancy Y. There. And they should line up. You shouldn't have like more X's than Y's or Y's than X's. And so the keys for quadratic regression are menu 4, 1, 6. Okay, so I'll write that at the top of my page. Menu 4, 1, 6. And that little half page you got yesterday has this on there. So the X list is X, the Y list is Y. So make sure you change those and then hit OK. Now it gives you the template. Okay, so for a quadratic, it's ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay? And so this tells me my a is -5. So that comes first, and the x squared goes after it. My b is a 20, so plus 20. And there's an x after the b. And then the c is -14, so minus 14. That is all we're doing today. We are typing the tables into lists and spreadsheets and doing quadratic regression. Okay. All right, let's look at number 4 because I want to show you. This one's a little different. So again, always start fresh. Red X. So back to list and spreadsheets. An X next to the A, a Y next to the B. And then we put them in. All right, menu 4, 1, 6. Change the X list to X, the Y list to Y. All right, special kind of circumstances here. See how the B value is 0? So when we start writing this, we write the A first. So the A is an 8, X squared. If the B is a 0, we don't put 0x. You just skip it. And then the C is an 11, so I would just put minus 11. Okay, so I wouldn't write 0x, or you can and then make it invisible. Okay, but the C value is always just the number at the end, so be careful with those. The C can also be a 0. Sometimes you have 2x squared plus 3x, and then that's it. There's no just plain old number at the end. And then everybody's favorite, fractions. So here's the deal with fractions. You can type fractions in as division problems because I know it's less buttons to push. I know for me it is. So instead of, you can do, if you want to do the control and then the division and do -1/3, you can do that. What I do, 1/3, I do 1 divided by 3. I type it in as a fraction because it's the same thing. A fraction and division problem are the same thing. 2/3, 2 divided by 3. Again, for me, it's quicker to push those buttons. All right, and then -9/4, -3, -13/4, -3, -9/4. All right, menu 4, 1, 6. X list to X, Y list to Y. All right, I got decimals here. if the data they give you is fractions, then your equation needs to be written in fractions. There's no decimals here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write these down. So A is 2.25, B is negative 1.5, C is negative 3. That's on a table like this. I'm going to show you an example too where you can use decimals. But then I'm just going to open up the calculator page. And so 2.25, and then I'm going to do menu 2 and hit enter. And it'll change it to a fraction for me. So my A is 9 over 4 x squared. 1.5. Was it negative 1.5? It was. It was negative. Okay. Try this again. Negative 1.5. Menu 2 is negative 3 over 2 x. And then the C value is a negative 3. So minus 3. Okay, real world. Real world situations, we can use decimals because they're not going to be nice and pretty like these. We're going to have to round, okay? So again, looking at the one that I'm going to leave for you, this one, see how the data is decimals? You can write your answer as decimals. So in a case like this, see how there's one number after the decimal in each of those? That kind of gives you an idea where to round to. Okay, I'm going to say let's do 2 numbers after the decimal to make it accurate. All right, so a table of students' test scores compared to the number of hours studied is shown in the table below. Determine a regression equation that best fits the data. So we're going to do exactly what we did up here. We're going to do quadratic regression on it. So start fresh, x and y. So 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. 45, 72, 92, 74, 47. Menu 4, 1, 6. X list to x, y list to y. So see, they're gross. So let me move this. Let me switch spots here. Okay, so my A is negative, if I round it, negative 2.61. X squared goes after the A. My B is 21.157. So plus 21.16. X goes after the B. And then the C plus 43.94. All right, 8. What is a good prediction of the score a student would make who studied for 3 hours? So hours is an X. So I'm looking for where X equals 3. Really cool thing about your calculators. From here, right? Not red X. From here, I'm going to click the home key, and then I'm going to click the graph. And if I press the up arrow key, it puts in that equation that we just found using the quadratic regression. So we can hit enter, and it'll graph it for me. And then all I have to do, Control T, and go to where X is 3. And that's the answer I'm looking for. So 83.95. Do I put grades like that on your papers, 83.95? I'd round it up, right? I'd give you an 84. So that's what you're going to do on 9 and 10, but I am going to give you a hint. 45 minutes. See how this is time in hours? So you have to change that to a decimal. So I'm going to give you what X should equal. So what you do to turn minutes to hours, you divide it by 60. Divide your minutes by 60 and it turns it into hours. So on yours, you need to know where X is 0.75. So what you can do when you're in your graph, let me just graph something really quick so we've got something in here. You know how I went to the table? What you're going to do is you're going to go menu 5, 1, and then you're going to type this in, 0.75, and hit enter. And it will give you your answer down here. So it's the trace. So it's menu 5, 1 is called the trace feature on a graph. You can type any X value in and it'll take you to that point on the graph, and it will give you the Y coordinate. So it's a pretty cool feature again of those calculators.